Every morning, when the first ray of sunlight touches our face, we hope for a new beginning. But the moment we open our eyes, that hope fades away, because our mind starts spinning with thousands of thoughts at once. What do I have to do today? Who messaged me? What should I post on social media? What will my boss say at the office? What will my family think? Every day, a new battle, a battle not fought outside but within ourselves. And to understand, manage and win this inner battle, Darius Furrow wrote the book Focus on What Matters. Right at the beginning of this book, he shares a powerful concept, the dichotomy of control, i.e., what is in our control and what is not. Imagine this. You post a photo on social media. You expect people to appreciate it, to like it, to make you feel good. But what if someone comments negatively or no one even sees it? Then what? Your mood drops, your heart sinks, you start disliking yourself just because of a single post. But pause for a moment and think, is other people's reaction in your control? Number, what you can control is what you posted and with what intention. Everything else, people's reactions, their mindset, their mood, is external. And if we tie our happiness to these external things, then we are handing over the keys of our life to someone else. Darius Furrow says, inner peace is only possible when we focus only on what's within our control. Just like an archer focuses only on aiming at the target, not on what happens after the arrow is released. You're preparing for a job interview. Your job is to work hard, to prepare yourself honestly. Whether you get selected or not, that's not in your hands. That depends on the company's requirements, the interviewer's mood, or other candidates. But what do? We cling to the result and cry over it. Someone didn't reply to your message, someone ignored you, someone didn't praise you, and you start thinking, am I not good enough? Am I worthless? Do I have no value? But the truth is, their behavior comes from their world, not from your worth. Just like unexpected rain or being stuck in traffic. Getting upset over these things only wastes your energy because they are uncontrollable. Imagine you're heading to an important event and suddenly it starts raining. You have two choices: get upset, grumble in anger, ruin your mood, or take out your umbrella and think, well, this too is an experience. That is real control. That is the true mindset. Every day we are surrounded by two kinds of things, what's in our control and what's not. If we make it a habit to ask ourselves in every situation, is this in my control? Then our thoughts, our peace, and our happiness will become much more stable. Darius Furrow says, don't waste your power where you have no power. Use your energy only on what you can truly change. So the next time life entangles you, just pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this in my control? If the answer is no, then let it go, because your peace, your happiness, is worth far more than that. Have you ever wondered how two people can go through the same situation, but their reactions are completely different? Why? Because our perspective defines our experience. Darius Furrow puts it very simply, yet powerfully. Mindset is the lens through which we see the world. And the dichotomy of control gives us a lens that helps us see the truth, a clear perspective that leads us to peace. All of us at some point think, I wish this person would change. I wish they understood me. I wish people gave me the respect I deserve. But the reality? Changing others is not in our control. There is only one thing we need to control: ourselves. You can set your boundaries. You can keep your expectations clear. You can behave in the way you wish others would behave with you. And the amazing thing is, well, when you start changing yourself, the world around you also begins to change, slowly. When you focus only on your own actions, a deep confidence starts to grow within you, because then every result doesn't feel like a failure, but becomes a stepping stone toward growth. Darius Furrow felt the same. When he embraced the dichotomy of control, he realized that the things he feared the most, like rejection, criticism, or uncertainty, were never in his control to begin with. So there was no point in fearing them. In today's world, career uncertainty is something we all face. Sometimes we lose our jobs, sometimes the salary doesn't feel enough, sometimes it feels like there's no purpose in what we're doing. But now, think, can you fully control these things? Probably not, but what can you do? You can learn new skills. You can prove yourself through projects. You can build a network. In short, you can do everything that is in your control. When we look at someone else's life on social media, their success, their joy, their smiles, deep inside we begin to feel small. But have you ever realized that feeling isn't really about comparison? It's about a lack of awareness. You remain insecure until you understand this simple truth. Their life is in their control, and yours is only in your control. Thoreau says, peace comes when we understand control, and then learn to let it go. When you stop resisting and start accepting, a whole new world opens up within you. You become calmer, more present, and more real. The biggest cause of stress is our attachment to the outcome, and the simplest cure is attachment to the process. When you make your daily focus just this, what can I do? Then every day becomes an opportunity for growth. In every day, in every situation, ask yourself one simple question. Is this in my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If it's no, let it go. Slowly, this practice will become your habit. And that habit will bring clarity, peace, and balance into your life. In today's fast and chaotic world, Stoic philosophy and Darius Forou's book show us a path that leads to peace amidst the noise. The peace we're searching for outside is actually hidden within us. And the only way to reach it is focus on what you can control. Let go of what you can't. If these words are touching your heart, then share this video with someone who might be lost in the noise of their own mind. Sometimes the biggest truths of life aren't found in big books or heavy lectures, but hidden in a small, heartfelt letter. Darius Forou's letters are just like that. Short reflections, easy to read but deep to feel. When you read them, it feels like someone close, a friend, a companion, or maybe your future self, is speaking directly to your heart. And sometimes it feels as if you yourself are listening to your own heart. In one letter, he talks about fear, the fear that lives somewhere inside all of us. Sometimes it's the fear of failure, sometimes the fear of being left alone, or the fear of being rejected by someone. Most of us try to hide that fear or run away from it. But in this letter, it says, don't run from fear. Sit with it. Talk to it. Listen to what it's trying to say. What are you trying to show me? When we ask this question to our fear, it no longer remains an enemy. It becomes a teacher. And in that very moment we receive clarity. That clear perspective that was once lost in the fog. Then comes another letter, one that touches perhaps the biggest illness of our times, overthinking. We all get stuck in it at some point. Someone says something, things don't go the way we imagined, or we get overwhelmed thinking about the future. In this letter, there's a soft and gentle piece of advice. Pause, breathe, and trust. Thinking about something over and over doesn't bring solutions, it only creates more confusion. When we get tangled in overthinking, we disconnect from the present moment. This letter grounds us. It teaches us how to stay rooted. Then comes a deeply touching letter about validation. All of us, at some point or another, seek approval from others, likes, compliments, or even just someone saying, "You're doing good." But this letter whispers a quiet yet resounding truth. Your value already exists. You don't need to prove it through someone else's eyes. When we constantly try to appear perfect, we start drifting away from our true selves. But when we reconnect with ourselves, the need for validation slowly fades away. The most beautiful thing about these letters is they're simple, honest, and written from the heart. No heavy philosophy, no pretense. It just feels like an honest friend, silently speaking to you, becoming the voice of your own heart. Every line holds truth, every word carries softness. After reading each letter, you feel like pausing, thinking, feeling, as if your heart is saying, "Just stay here a little longer. That really touched me deeply." These letters aren't some motivational shock. They work slowly, like a gentle rain, not just wetting the surface, but soaking deep into the soil. Every letter offers a new path to meet yourself. Some of these letters are raw, loneliness, grief, loss. But even in their words, there's no forcefulness. No one says, "Be strong," or "just think positive." Instead, they quietly say, "I understand your pain, and I'm just here, with you." What makes this format truly special is, every time you read them, they mean something different. If you read a letter today and come back to it a week later, you'll find something new in it. Just like in meditation, you breathe the same breath every day, but the experience is different each time. Similarly, these letters open a new door every time. When you read these letters, they unlock something within you. Sometimes a buried feeling, sometimes an old memory, sometimes a forgotten truth. And in that moment, you begin to understand yourself a little better. And maybe that's the greatest gift, the strength to reconnect with yourself. So if you ever feel fear, confusion, loneliness, or exhaustion inside you, take some time to read these letters, because maybe the answers aren't outside, but hidden in some quiet corner of your own heart. When you read these letters, it doesn't feel like someone is trying to teach you something. It feels like they are giving you permission to feel, to accept your emotions, and slowly, gently, to begin healing. No rules, no order about which letter to read first. Just pick the one that resonates with how you feel today. This freedom brings peace, because it reminds us that healing isn't linear. Sometimes we need to go back, so we can find the strength to move forward. Every letter is a gentle pause, a stillness, that pulls you out of this fast-moving world and makes you sit quietly with yourself. This book teaches us that not every answer comes immediately. Sometimes we just need to be silent and listen to the voice within, to the whisper of the heart. And then, from somewhere deep inside, a soft voice rises. "It's okay. You are doing fine. Just breathe." The most beautiful thing about this book is that it doesn't pressure you to become better. It gently reminds you that you, just as you are enough. There's no performance here, no judgment, only pure acceptance. And in today's world, where everyone is racing to appear perfect, this real and raw acceptance is one of the most precious gifts. Every letter is a break for the mind, a hug for the heart, and a prayer for the soul. When you read this book, it's not just reading. It becomes a journey. A journey not outward, but inward. A journey back to your truest self. The version of you that you've always been, just lost somewhere in the noise of the world. Whenever you feel lost, confused, or simply want to talk to yourself, return to these letters. They'll gently remind you that clarity, peace, and self-love are not out there, they are within you. Today, all of us are pulled by an invisible force, distraction, notifications, alerts, screens from all directions, voices piling up until our own voice gets buried underneath. We sit down to do something, and within minutes, we pick up our phone. We scroll and forget what we even intended to do. This is the digital noise that Darius Faroo talks about. He says, attention is your greatest asset. And that's no exaggeration, because everything we achieve depends on where our attention is focused, whether it's learning, relationships, career goals, or self-growth. Everything starts with focus, but when our attention is scattered, with new tabs every minute, a mind jumping at every beep, we lose the depth of connection. Think about it when you're talking to a friend and you check your phone in between. You neither hear your friend fully nor feel the relationship deeply. Similarly, when you want to dive into a book or do focused work, but your mind keeps getting pulled by external noises, that moment slowly starts to fade away. The way out of this digital noise is hidden in these letters. They give us a taste of peace, help us recognize our own voice, and teach us how to reconnect, slowly, patiently. Every letter is a mirror, every line is a path, and the whole experience is an inner homecoming. This distraction isn't just eating up our time, it's quietly consuming our inner peace, our creativity, and our sense of fulfillment silently, bit by bit. We don't even realize it, and the most precious thing we have, our attention, gets lost. Darius Foro strongly emphasizes this, that just like we save money or protect our valuables in a safe, we must also learn to protect our attention, because in today's world, attention is the real currency. Every app, every brand, every notification is after your attention. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, they all ask for just one thing: your time, your attention. And us, we just give it away, mindlessly, without thinking. One reel here, one tweet there, an unfinished article in between. Slowly our minds become shallow. We want to know everything, but we're unable to deeply feel anything. This digital distraction is like a slow poison. Its cost is so subtle and gradual that we don't even realize what we're losing. But at the end of the day, when we sit tired and ask ourselves, what did I actually do today? The answer is often, probably, nothing got fully done. And that's the biggest damage. Half-done work, scattered mind, and a constant inner restlessness. Foro says, the root of distraction is not boredom, but rather emotional discomfort. When a task feels hard, when a conversation challenges us, or when we feel anxious inside, what do? We reach for the phone, we scroll the feed, we run away from ourselves. This temporary escape gives us relief for a moment, but in the long run, it weakens our ability to think deeply. Foro teaches us that we should design our day in a way that protects our attention, meaning we must consciously decide what to see, when to see, and how much to see. Before your hand reaches for the phone, pause for just 1 second and ask yourself, is this really necessary? Is this helping me move toward my goal? Is this bringing clarity or more confusion? Foro also emphasizes morning routines, because the first hour of your day sets the tone for the rest of the day. If we wake up and immediately check our phone, go through notifications, our brain enters reactive mode, and then all day we just follow the world's cues. But if we give that first hour to silence, journaling, reading, or simply connecting with ourselves, then attention slowly trains itself like a muscle. Foro shares some very simple but powerful strategies. Time blocks. Break your day into focused chunks of time. Distraction-free zones. Create spaces at home or work with no phone or noise. Digital detox, 1 day a week. Just spend time with yourself. Tolerate boredom. Don't run from boredom. Sit with it. Because beneath boredom lies insight. That boredom slowly transforms into clarity, insight, creativity. Foro says our best thoughts come when we're just thinking, not lost in someone else's life feed. So next time, when you reach for your phone without reason, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, am I looking to gain something or lose something? Because attention is not just a resource, attention is life. And whatever we give our attention to, that becomes our life. So if you want to reclaim your lost peace, pay attention to where your attention is going. How often do we spend the whole day feeling busy? Emails, replies, notifications, jumping from one tab to another. But at night, lying in bed and wondering, what did I actually do today? The answer often is, not much that really mattered. Foro tells us that this kind of busyness is actually shallow work. Real work, deep work, happens only when there is no distraction, when the mind has space to flow, when we're truly connected to ourselves and creating something meaningful. We think we'll find inspiration by scrolling, but what really happens? Because in today's world, attention is the real currency. Every app, every brand, every notification is chasing your attention. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, they all want just one thing: your time, your focus. And we just give it away mindlessly. One reel here, one tweet there, an unfinished article somewhere in between. Slowly, our minds become overwhelmed. Comparison begins. And eventually we start doubting ourselves. Thoreau says, "True inspiration comes from silence. When the mind is still, only then can it see, feel, and imagine." Distraction doesn't just steal your time, it disconnects you from your inner voice. When we're constantly hearing others' voices, feeds, videos, updates, our own voice begins to fade. Sometimes it disappears entirely. And when that happens, we may still be living, but not on our own terms. Thoreau's message is crystal clear. Reclaim your attention. Invest your attention in things that bring growth, peace, and meaning, because when you start designing your day with less noise and more purpose, you begin to choose selectively. You no longer give your attention to everything, only to what aligns with your heart. Darius Thoreau doesn't scare you by saying, "Don't do this, don't do that." Instead, his words feel like a friend gently placing a hand on your shoulder saying, "You are capable, just become a little more conscious." And perhaps that one line settles straight into the heart. So next time, when you pick up your phone for no reason, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, am I giving away my most valuable asset, my attention, to something else? If the answer is yes, then you have a choice to take it back, to invest it mindfully, and to preserve your clarity amidst the noise. Sometimes at night, when the world is asleep and we lie in silence, that's when all the what-ifs surface. What if I had finished that project? What if I had spoken my heart? What if I hadn't missed that opportunity? These are the real regrets, Thoreau says. We don't regret because we made mistakes, but because our actions didn't align with our values. We did something that didn't feel true to our heart. And that's what haunts us. We've all felt it. That what we're doing isn't really me, just lost in the crowd, stuck in trends, crushed under others' expectations. But the truth is, there's always a way back to your truth, your focus, and your emotions. You just need a little awareness, a little courage, and a little structure. Because in the end, attention is everything. Where your attention goes, that becomes your life. So pay attention to where you're paying attention. Sometimes we do things that don't feel right in our heart, but we still go through with them because everyone's doing it, or this is how it's supposed to be. But those small compromises slowly become big regrets, and when years later we think back on them, they don't just feel like mistakes, they feel like betrayals of the self. Thoreau explains it so simply. Regret isn't punishment, it's a signal, a mirror that shows us where we went against ourselves. Like if you regret a job, maybe it didn't align with your passion. If you regret a relationship, maybe you couldn't speak your truth. Regret is really that voice that says to you, pause for a second and ask yourself, are you truly living the life that aligns with your heart? Often, we live on autopilot. Same job, same routine, same complaints. Without ever stopping to ask, is this really the life I want? Thoreau wakes us up. The way to avoid regret is not to be perfect, but to be awake. Before every day, every decision, ask just one question. Is this truly necessary for me? Does this align with my values? And this question may seem small, but its impact is profound. Thoreau says, values don't just mean honesty, kindness, or growth. They are the things that give your life true meaning. If we ourselves aren't clear about what our values are, then we start living by other people's standards, and that almost always leads to regret. The biggest cause of regret is this: if only I had a little more time. But the truth, time will always be limited. That's why it's important that right now, today, we pause and ask ourselves, am I doing something that my future self will be proud of? Every day, every hour we're making choices. Now, whether those choices are made out of fear or from our values makes all the difference. Thoreau says, don't let regret turn into guilt. Let it become a guide. If you've made a mistake, don't beat yourself up. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this experience? What can I change now? When we turn regret into a path for self-growth instead of self-blame, the pain becomes healing. The things you ignore today, the things you say, let it go to, those very things will start to sting years from now, because those small misalignments gradually start to bury our dreams and our inner voice. Thoreau's message is crystal clear. If you want to avoid regret, learn to make every choice consciously. Not from fear, yes, but from values, not for validation, yes, but for true desire, not because of outside noise, but because of your inner truth. And when you start doing this, life slowly starts to feel simpler and more authentic. When your choices align with the truth of your heart, regret is replaced with gratitude. Each night you can say to yourself, yes, today I did what truly mattered to me. Maybe it wasn't perfect, but I didn't betray myself. And that is what real satisfaction feels like. That's what true peace is. Don't think Thoreau is talking about some fairy tale world. He himself says, in the real world, sometimes compromise is necessary. But the real question isn't whether you compromised, it's which value did you compromise on? If you make decisions consciously, you don't feel regret. Because then it wasn't out of helplessness, but a thoughtful choice. What's the biggest regret? Not what you did, but what you never even tried. Fearing to live your dream, hiding your truth in a relationship, silencing your inner creativity. These become silent regrets that keep aching within for years. Live life boldly but wisely. Darius Thoreau says, listen with your heart, but act with your mind. Take action, but with your values. Sometimes life brings us to a crossroads where two paths appear. One is easy, but empty. The other is hard, but meaningful. And he says, choose the second one, because that's where a regret-free life begins. If you're confused, just ask one question. Does this truly matter to me? This question seems small, yes, but its answer can change the direction of your life. When the world gets too loud, when your mind feels overwhelmed, this question becomes your compass. Regret isn't your enemy, it's a teacher. But in order to learn, we must know how to listen, pause, and ask ourselves, am I really doing what I'm meant to be doing? If we pause just a little each day and ask ourselves this, then maybe our life won't be 100% regret-free, but it will definitely be regret-aware. The 3 pillars of a meaningful life. Darius Thoreau says, to live a true life, you need clarity, knowing what truly matters to you, courage, the strength to walk that path, consistency, the daily practice of living that truth. When these 3 align, regret is replaced by satisfaction, guilt by growth, and confusion by purpose. Fear, not a barrier but a signpost. Fear is a word that makes our heart shrink the moment we hear it. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of change. But Thoreau says, fear isn't an enemy. It's a message, a voice that whispers, right here is your next level. Fear appears exactly where growth is hidden. Think about it. If you're afraid of speaking on stage, maybe your true voice is hidden there. If starting a new job scares you, maybe your freedom lies there. If saying I love you feels terrifying, maybe your connection is waiting there. Fear doesn't just come to stop you, it signals that, step out, your expansion is here. Leaving your comfort zone is true courage. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, It means moving forward despite the fear. So if today you're at a crossroads, standing face to face with fear, wrestling with regret, just remember, life is calling you toward your truth, and listening to that voice is your biggest victory. You don't need to suppress fear. Thoreau emphasizes this deeply. He says, Stoics never say, don't feel fear. They say, feel the fear, and still do the right thing. Fear isn't the enemy, it's an alarm, a signal that says, you need a little more courage here, a little more clarity, and a little more self-trust. But often we overthink our fear so much that it begins to feel heavier than the truth itself. We create imaginary future scenes in our mind, which don't even exist yet. Darius Thoreau says, most fears come from imagination, not reality. When we start to realize that fear is just a thought, a story our mind is telling us, then that fear starts to loosen its grip. Imagine this. Someone is afraid of attending a public event. They think, what will people think? What if I act awkward? What if I'm judged? But the truth is, people are busy living their own lives. Our fears are often just reflections of our own imagination. Thoreau says, don't run from fear, talk to it. Imagine fear sitting in front of you like an old friend. Look at it and ask, what are you here to teach me? What are you trying to show me? When we stop trying to fight fear and start to understand it, the clarity hidden within fear starts to guide us. The Stoics have a beautiful concept called virtuous action, actions that align with our principles, courage, honesty, self-control, wisdom. Darius Thoreau says, whenever fear shows up, recognize it as a signal toward authentic action. If speaking the truth scares you, maybe that truth is your liberation. If you're hesitating to speak out against wrong, maybe that courage is your growth zone. Fear paralyzes, action frees. This is the core message of Thoreau's philosophy. The more we delay action, the stronger fear becomes. But the moment we take even a small step, fear starts to weaken. Courage doesn't mean being fearless. It means moving forward with fear by your side. Thoreau says, if you're not feeling fear, you're probably walking a small path. One more important point. Not all fear is equal. Some fears are real, like fire or actual danger, but some fears are just mental creations, like fear of people's opinions or fear of imagined failure. The Stoic mindset teaches, first, identify the category of fear, then act accordingly. Where there's real danger, protect yourself. Where fear is imagined, bring awareness, reflection, and action. Thoreau suggests a powerful practice. Keep a fear journal. Whenever fear arises, write it down. What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid? And what is the real truth behind this fear? This process of writing gives us clarity and reduces the intensity of fear by more than half. Don't miss an opportunity just because of fear. Imagine you didn't take a step just because you were afraid, and later you regret it deeply. Then that fear turned out to be a very costly deal, didn't it? Thoreau says, short-term fear is less dangerous than long-term regret. That's why what feels uncomfortable now may one day become your greatest strength. Fear didn't come to stop you. It came to transform you. If you found this video meaningful, like it, leave a comment, and share it with a friend who might need to have a quiet conversation with themselves today. And always remember, your fear is not your enemy. It's a friend, gently saying, come on, it's time to grow forward. You've been listening to Scaropedia, where every story transforms your life.